Welcome to this special edition of Detroit Lions on the Prowl. And today we're going to have a discussion, a interview that Kurt Steele had this week. So we're going to put that out there. And then we're going to give a few takes on the Lions versus Bears. Probably nothing that big, but we'll give you a little bit of information on that as well. So before we get into all that, as usual, I'm going to bring in my partner in crime, the man of steel himself, Kurt Steele.
What up, dude? Welcome to the show, people. You know what we are. We are Detroit Lions on the Prowl, your home for Detroit Lions news and rumors. And as always, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so before. Ring that notification bell so you know when you're getting fresh content from us right here on Detroit Lions on the Prowl. Let's get this thing started
right now.
Hey, welcome back to the program, people. There's no comment cards on this show. We're just going to have a special interview I had with Rishi Barron. Now, Rishi Barron is a former sports reporter, and he is a course director at the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting at Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida. He was one of my favorite instructors, and he is an avid Bears fan. And he agreed to come on the show and talk to me about the state of the Bears and just to preview the upcoming game versus the Lions. So let's check out that special interview right now. Hey, welcome back to the program, bringing you the best Detroit Lions news and rumors right here on Detroit Lions on the Prowl. I would like to welcome Rishi Barron to the program. He is a sports reporter by trade and is currently a course director at the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting at Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida. This is where your boy Kurt Steele graduated from a few months ago, and he was one of my favorite instructors at the school and an all-around good guy, except he's a Bears fan. Rishi, welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you, Kurt. The love goes right back to you, too. You're one of my favorite students, always hardworking. No doubt in my mind that this thing is going to continue to take off for you. So keep up the good work.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Now, talk to us about your career as a sportscaster and how it led to you being an instructor at Full Sail.
Well, I've been in the business for 15 years and traveled around the country to different places. And what's kind of fun about that, Kurt, is you get to see all different athletes from all different states. I mean, I've lived in Iowa, Missouri, Pennsylvania, New York, and Florida. And I've seen some guys who've gone on to Hall of Fame NFL careers, some guys who right now are tearing it up in college. And so it's been great to get kind of a landscape of the country. And, I've only been to Detroit once, but that was during Super Bowl week. And one thing that really hit me was the passion of the fans there and how much everybody there wanted everyone who was attending for the Super Bowl to love the city and to get to enjoy it. And I had a heck of a time. And, being a longtime Bears fan, I've gotten to see the passion from Lions fans for a long time.
Okay, thanks. We appreciate that. You know how we get down in the D. How did you become a Bears fan, my man?
Well, I was a kid growing up probably about 3 hours from Buffalo, right? So that's the closest team to me where I grew up. And that was during the time when they were on their run. Obviously, the 4 straight Super Bowls, Marv Levy, Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, all those guys. But I was a kid who always kind of liked things a little bit different. And being the fact that we were 3 hours away, it wasn't like, growing up in Detroit or Pittsburgh or somewhere like that where that passion is passed down from generation to generation. We had some of my friends were fans of the Giants, the Bills, the Eagles, you name it. And I loved Mike Ditka from the start when I started watching football. I loved Soldier Field. I loved kind of the black and blue style of Bears football. And it was something that I thought was going to be great. At the time, they had a really good team. And, fast forward to now, in the last 26 years, we've won 3 playoff games. So I don't know if it was the best decision of my life, Kurt, but it's something that I'm really passionate about.
Man, you preaching to the choir. I'm a Lions fan. We're Lions fans, and we haven't won a championship since 57. So, I get what you're saying about having some lean years as a fan. Now, here's an interesting question. What are your thoughts on the Bears as a team right now?
This has probably been one of the most difficult seasons to watch since I've been a fan. And that's saying something, Kurt. You've seen how bad some of our teams have been at certain times. But the difference with this year is there's a lot of promise. On one side of the ball, you got a defense which may not be perfect, but it could be a championship level defense on a number of teams, right? And then on the other side of the ball, it's just been a mess. The offensive line was a problem to begin with coming into the year, and then we've had injuries. And obviously, the quarterback carousel that's been coming in and out every week. Yeah. But I think the most frustrating thing has been the fact that, I was a big believer in Matt Nagy when he got the job. And obviously the first year there was a lot of promise coming out of that. But his play calling has been difficult to watch at times. He no longer has those duties. They've passed them on to offensive coordinator Bill Lazor. But it's really hard to watch this team, I'm telling you, because 3 and outs, very likely, and you just have a feeling. I was confident last week, believe it or not, going into the Green Bay game. And then you watch, a quarter and a half, and you're like, what's going on here? So it's been frustrating because I feel like this team could be really good. They're just not. And the offense has been a bit of a disaster.
Yeah. Now that kind of segues into our next topic right quick. So there's some rumblings on social media by Bears fans, and I know some Bears fans because I'm from the Midwest, that want Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace gone. They want them to be fired, as like Lions fans wanted Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn fired. What are your thoughts on how they're doing their jobs right now in Chicago?
Well, let's just let the numbers speak for themselves. They've lost 5 straight games, so I don't know how anyone could be happy with that at the moment. Ryan Pace's name has been kind of one that has angered some Bears fans for a little while. Obviously, the thing that everyone always goes back to is his decision to trade up. Now mind it, trade up 1 pick to get Mitch Trubisky, because clearly Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson weren't good enough, right? So that's what it's always going to go back to in terms of what people talk about. To me, the biggest problem that Ryan Pace has been on the offensive line. He restructured the contracts, gave extensions to Charles Leno and Bobby Massey, both who have not performed well over the course of their whole career. And offensive line is really where it starts. I mean, Kurt, what makes a good football team, and a good offensive line, a good defensive line. Well, we got one of those. And the offensive line just has not been good enough to, we were able to run the ball against you in week 1, haven't done much of it since. And that's really where it comes down to. But ultimately, he'll be judged on that. As for Matt Nagy, it's just when you're an offensive coach, they hired him to be an offensive coach to groom Mitch Trubisky. And when your offense is near the bottom of the league and has been the past couple of seasons, how do you justify that? In a lot of ways, the defense has bailed him out. And when you watch decisions he makes on 3rd and 1s and 4th and 1s, when he's running the shotgun, and it's just ridiculous sometimes. So I really like Matt Nagy as a motivator and as a guy working with players. But when it comes down to it, if you're an offensive coach and your offense is bad, we're going to see what happens over this next handful of games to end the season. And very likely, if things don't go well, both of them could be gone.
Right. We had the same issue in Detroit. We had a defensive-minded coach and Matt Patricia. And, of course, our defense is terrible. And so that led to his ticket out of town really fast this year. I think it wasn't as fast as most fans wanted in Detroit. Now, speaking of that Mitch Trubisky pick, I live in North Carolina, and I watched him at North Carolina. And to be honest with you, I was like, what were they thinking? Moving up to draft him. I hope he has some success, not against us, but he seems to be all pro against the Lions.
He does have success against you.
He's a lion tamer. And I really don't like that at all. But that's one pick that I was scratching my head living here in North Carolina and watching him at UNC. Next up, as a Bears fan, you have watched Detroit over the years. Now, how do you view the Lions as an opponent, being a Bears fan?
Do you want me to be honest with you?
Brutally honest. Come on now, bring it, baby. That's why we're here.
When the Lions game comes up, or the 2 Lions games come up every week or every part of the year, it's like, man, wow, we got a chance to win this week, right?
Okay.
So, as you know, we haven't always been successful against you, but we've had a lot of success since I've been a fan. I mean, when I started watching the Lions was back in the Wayne Fonts days with Barry Sanders and Herman Moore and Brett Perriman and all those guys. At that time, you guys were a little better than us. But since then, for the most part, we've held our own. We've won, 5 straight against you now?
Yeah.
So, to be honest with you, Kurt, Thanksgiving was great this year, but after beating you guys the last 2 years on Thanksgiving, it wasn't quite the same. But and you know what it's like in the North. You got the Packers, you got the Vikings, Lions, and Bears. And to me, it's like, well, the Vikings and Packers are usually going to be really tough. For us, facing the Lions, that's a week to get things right.
Yeah. Now, I would say this. Before those last 5 games, we won, about 10 in a row against you guys, and we had the same feeling during those lean years. We were loving. It was Bears week. We were loving it when it was Bears week. So I understand what you guys are saying. I think you guys got away with one earlier in this when we played you guys in the first game of the season with the drop pass by DeAndre Swift. I guarantee you, if he gets that opportunity again, he will not drop that pass. All right.
We'll see if he does get that opportunity, because you mentioned Trubisky, right? And this is an interesting note. And you're probably the only fan base in the whole country that, and I don't think you really do, but I'm just going to say it, that fears Mitch, right? You fear Mitch because Mitch owns you. And I think you got a bad break with Nick Foles going down, because Nick Foles was much worse in this offense than Trubisky. Trubisky at least breathes a little life into the offense. We even saw it last week. They got crushed by the Packers, but believe it or not, the offense was a lot better than it had been recently. And part of the reason is because of his mobility. And when you're dealing with a bad offensive line, and that's when he's at his best. He's at his best when he doesn't have to think too much, when he just reacts. And against you, 12 touchdowns, 1 interception, 124.4 passer rating, and a 4-0
kills it against
record.
us. I can't say anything bad about that. He does kill it against the Lions. He has a very good track record against us. Coming into Soldier Field this weekend, facing him is going to be a test. But we're going to see if the dismissal of Patricia and his influence over the defense makes a difference with Corey Unlin being at the helm pretty much by himself now. He doesn't have to worry about Matt Patricia being over his head and pretty much handcuffing him in the defensive style that he wants to coach.
Yeah, and one thing I want to add to that, Kurt, is I think that's a huge point that you just made, that how are the Lions going to approach playing the Bears differently than they did with Patricia? And one thing that was kind of surprising over the years was Patricia never really changed the style of defense they played against the Bears, in spite of the fact Trubisky was having success. And, they don't blitz a lot against him. They want a lot man coverage. And Mitch is pretty good in those situations. If you don't force him to make a quick decision and he can find, the read that he wants to go to, I'll tell you what, he's got some talent. Now, the problem with him is consistency. He's inaccurate at times. He's bad with reads, which is why putting a little pressure on him helps with that. But if you just let Mitch sit back, it could be another long day for you.
Yeah, I have to agree with you 100%. All right, now it's time to get to the game at hand. Sunday, 1 p.m., Soldier Field, Chicago, on Fox. Who you got and what's the score?
I like the Bears. I like them 20-17. I very much would not be surprised if you beat us by 20 points, though, at the same time. Now, really the key to this, Kurt, is one guy, and we're going to find out if he plays or not very soon. That is Akeem Hicks. So Akeem Hicks, our defensive tackle, a lot of people think Khalil Mack is the most important player on our defense. I would argue that it's Hicks. When Hicks has been out the last 2 years, the defense has not been the same. And look at last week against Green Bay. They gave up like 180 rushing yards. They gave up 4 touchdowns in the red zone. Those things weren't happening when he was in there. So Hicks is questionable. If he plays, I like our chances to win. If he doesn't play, I know you guys have had trouble running the ball this year, but I think you're going to find some holes, and I think that Matthew Stafford will have plenty of time to throw as well if Hicks is out. But let's say Hicks plays, I like the Bears 20-17. And again, I think it's going to be much like you've seen the last couple times that you faced us. Late Trubisky touchdown drive, touchdown pass at the end to the rookie tight end, Cole Kmet. That's my
Cole
prediction.
Kmet, that's the Notre Dame guy, right? I believe that's
Yes,
where
he
he
is.
school. Yeah, all right. Well, you know what? Thank you for coming and talking to us right here on Detroit Lions on the Prowl. We appreciate you, brother. We're gonna pick the Lions to win over on our side. So tune in, guys, for our game prediction show. You know how we get down. So, Rishi, again, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thanks, Kurt.
Hello, welcome back. What an interview, Kurt. You did a great job there, man. That was
man.
really,
Thanks.
really good. Okay, and now we're going to go into a little Bears-Lions talk. It's going to be a quick hitter thing. It's not going to be a whole lot of stuff, but who we got, that type of thing. Who's eating, who's starving, those little tidbits we're going to put in there. The Bears are going to be relatively healthy coming into this game. I think their coach's job is on the line, and I think they're going to play hard. I got the Bears in this one.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a really tough game. I think the Lions are fired up as well. They got something to prove. I think they're going to be playing their hearts out for the new guys that's coming in. I got the Lions in a close one.
Yeah, it depends on who is actually there to play.
Yeah, that's
we
true.
have so many people on IR, so many people hurt, and we're not like the next man up type of team. We're kind of like, well, if we miss one guy, we're kind of screwed. Like Kenny Galladay, we miss one wide receiver, that whole offense changes. Why? Because we don't use TJ Hawkinson. We don't know how to use Marvin Hall that much. I mean, we did for a few weeks, and then we forgot. I'm hoping that Darrell Bevell's ascension to the head coaching ranks does make a difference. I am expecting it to, but I'm expecting the Bears to be at full strength, and that's going to be hard for us. Mitchell Trubisky is undefeated against us. You mentioned that yesterday. And I don't see that changing. I just don't.
Yeah.
I think their defense is too good. And I think we have missing pieces on defense, which is key. Danny Shelton's a key piece. There's people banged up in the secondary. It's going to be a tough go. I think it's going to be a tough go.
I think it's going to be a tough go, but I think that that they're just gonna change things up, and I think some of those changes are gonna be able to surprise the Bears and catch them off guard and be able to push out a squeaker victory.
God, I hope so, because the Bears have lost 5 in a row. They look god awful,
really bad.
The thing is, and their offense is absolutely terrible. Just terrible.
And that's the thing I'm counting on right there. The offense,
but our defense is terrible too.
Yes, it is definitely.
Their offense, our defense, it kind of washes. Our offense versus their defense, no, we don't win that battle.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. Hopefully we can get some things done.
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping we beat the Bears, but it's been a season of disappointment. So maybe I'm just in that gutter mentality right now. I don't really know. All right, so today that is going to be the show for today. I know this is a real different show. We're going to format it differently as we go, so be patient with us. So it's a brand new thing. But we just wanted to give you an extra day's worth of content, and we wanted to get those interviews with those people without having our shows last for 4 hours or something like that.
Yeah,
we like to keep it short and sweet here. So appreciate every one of you that rock with us. We appreciate all the comments and stuff. Your comment cards will be read on Monday, as usual, for the Friday show. So as always, I'm going to throw it to Kurt to take us home.
Hey. Real quick, we do have a little bit of dessert. It's a little tasty process for your Saturday meal. Hey, TJ Hawkinson is the top tight end for Pro Bowl voting as far in the NFC. So he is doing big things, and he's doing that while being underutilized. So
totally
shout out to my man TJ Hawkinson for being one of the top tight ends in Pro Bowl voting. So
awesome.
Doing your thing, young fella. Keep doing your thing. All right. Now it is time for us to go ahead and get on out of here. But you know what we are. We are the Detroit Lions on the Prowl, and we are your home for Detroit Lions news and rumors. So, as we always want you to do, whatever you do in life, you got to boss up, ball out, and be the best version of you that you can be. Full Man Jim, right here on Detroit Lions on the Prowl. This is Kurt Steele, and we will holler at you real soon.